Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young and resolute leader of Burkina Faso, sat at the head of a long wooden table in the presidential residence. It was a warm evening in Ouagadougou, and the air buzzed with the hum of cicadas outside. The room was filled with advisors, military officers, and a few trusted allies, gathered for a modest dinner to discuss the nation's ongoing security challenges. Traoré, known for his sharp instincts and unyielding commitment to his people, was in high spirits, his eyes scanning the room as he listened intently to the conversations. The meal was a spread of local delicacies, two with groundnut soup, grilled tilapia, and jollof rice spiced with peppers that carried the scent of the Sahel. Traoré, ever cautious, but not one to offend his hosts, took small portions, his military training keeping him alert, even in moments of camaraderie. He raised a glass of bissap, the tart hibiscus drink, glinting ruby red in the candlelight, and toasted to unity and resilience. The room echoed with clinks and murmurs of agreement. As the meal progressed, Traoré felt a subtle unease. His stomach churned, not with the usual satisfaction of a good meal, but with a faint gnawing discomfort. He dismissed it at first, attributing it to the stress of recent weeks, countering insurgent threats, navigating foreign pressures, and rallying a fractured nation. But the sensation grew sharper, a dull ache spreading to his chest. His vision blurred slightly, and a bead of sweat trickled down his temple despite the cool breeze from the open windows. He set down his spoon, his movements deliberate, and scanned the table. The others ate heartily, laughing and debating, seemingly unaffected. His mind raced. Poison. The word flashed in his thoughts like a warning flare. Traoré had enemies, both within and beyond Burkina Faso's borders, who would benefit from his demise. His rise to power had been swift, his reforms bold, and his refusal to bow to external influences had made him a target. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm but firm, rising from his chair. The room quieted, eyes turning to him. "I need a moment." He gestured to his trusted aide, Lieutenant Caboret, a wiry man with a scar across his cheek from a skirmish in the north. Caboret followed him to a small anteroom, closing the door behind them. "Something's wrong," Traoré said, his voice low. "The food, I feel it. My stomach, my head, it's not right." Caboret's eyes widened, but he nodded, his training kicking in. "Poison, sir? Are you sure?" "Not yet," Traoré replied, steadying himself against a table. "But we need to act fast. Get Dr. Zongo now." Caboret bolted from the room, and Traoré forced himself to breathe deeply, fighting the rising nausea. He replayed the meal in his mind. The TO had been fine, the fish unremarkable, but the jollof rice. It had a faint bitterness, masked by the spices. He hadn't eaten much, but perhaps it was enough. Minutes later, Dr. Zongo, a grizzled physician who had served in military field hospitals, arrived with a medical kit. "Captain, what are your symptoms?" he asked, his tone urgent but professional. "Nausea, chest pain, dizziness," Traoré said, his voice steady despite the growing weakness. "It started after the rice." Zongo's face darkened. "Could be a toxin. We need to induce vomiting and get you to a hospital for tests." He handed Traoré a small vial of ipecac syrup. "Drink this. It'll help." Traoré complied, grimacing as the bitter liquid hit his throat. Within minutes, he was retching into a basin, the contents of his stomach spilling out. Zongo examined the mess, his brow furrowing. "There's an odd smell. Chemical, almost. We need to analyze this." Meanwhile, Caboret had returned to the dining room, his face a mask of calm as he ordered the staff to secure the leftovers and detain the kitchen crew for questioning. The guests, sensing the shift in mood, grew restless, but Caboret's authority kept them in check. He collected samples of the jollof rice and sent them to a nearby military lab, with orders for immediate testing. Back in the anteroom, Traoré's condition stabilized slightly, though he was pale and sweating. Zongo administered saline to counter dehydration and monitored his vitals. "You're lucky you didn't eat more," the doctor said. "If it's what I suspect, maybe cyanide or a heavy metal, it's fast-acting. We'll know soon." Traoré nodded, his jaw tight. "Who served the rice?" he asked, his mind already piecing together the puzzle. Caboret, who had just returned, answered. "A new cook, sir. Hired last week. He's being questioned now." The others swear they didn't notice anything unusual, but one of the servers said the cook was nervous, kept checking his phone. Traoré's eyes narrowed. "Find that phone and check his contacts." This wasn't random. As the night wore on, the lab results came back. The jollof rice contained traces of arsenic, a slow but deadly poison that could have killed Traoré within hours if he'd consumed more. The new cook, under intense interrogation, broke down and confessed. He'd been paid by a shadowy intermediary, likely tied to foreign interests, opposed to Traoré's policies, to lace the rice. The phone records revealed coded messages, and military intelligence was already tracing the source. Traoré, now in a secure hospital room, sat up in bed, his strength returning as the antidote took effect. Cabaret stood by his side, relaying the latest findings. "We've got leads, sir. We'll find who's behind this." Traoré's gaze was steel. "They thought they could break us," he said, his voice low but resolute. "They'll learn otherwise. Tighten security, root out any traitors, and let the world know Burkina Faso stands strong." The clock ticked past midnight. The attempt on his life had failed, but the incident sharpened Traoré's resolve. He would survive, and he would fight on, for his people, for his nation, and for the truth.